We had just arrived here from Torren IV, after having our phase cords fixed by the Fixer. We came here to hide from the eyes of Dr. Nefarious and the Emperor. Although, it may seem a little bit unlike me to say, but it's nights like these that are perfect for one to tell stories. I may have overheard this one from Rivet back at Zerky's, and she told me not to tell anyone, but I have a feeling that I could share this with you without having to be worried about what happens outside our universe. And well, it doesn't look like we'll be leaving anytime soon, so I think it's probably best the more people we share this with, the more understanding that will come from it. At least to help out Rivet. Won't you agree? Alright. And I guess telling you won't hurt at all. Although, I must advise caution. This tale is unlike any other. And it began with Rivet, and the escape that followed from the prison that she was held in. This is the tale of the prisoners of the collective. According to Rivet, she was just done with saving an innocent from the Emperor's clutches, but upon her capture, it was as if time had frozen still in front of her. And then she was taken by another force of evil. That was the Chaos Collective. Rivet was then taken to a prison in an unknown void, and inside unimaginable horrors would await her. Securities on unknown levels, and screams of pain and torment could be heard everywhere, and even children were inmates. But as Rivet was about to be locked in her cellmates would prove to be quite great friends in the long run. In her cell, she met a girl named Ramona Flowers, and in the cell over was a Jedi, Cal Kestis. While locked up, the three friends would share stories on how they ended up inside the prison. It turns out all three had found data about the Chaos Collective scattered throughout their own universe. Cal found his during a mission on Coruscant. Ramona found hers in an email sent to her ex-boyfriend Gideon Graves, and Rivet's was found in a spy bot. But the trio would meet more friends in the prison who had also been brought in by the Collective as well. Their names were Peacemaker, Cryptosporidium, a Tenric named Surge, a Fennec named Kid, Tsunami, a Green Lantern by the name of Simon Baz, and a strong but chipper fellow named Hank Howard? Yes, I believe that was his name, Hank Howard. The inmates apparently call him the Amazing Bulk. Simon and Crypto were sent here during a mission in their own universe when they found out what the Collective is, as was Peacemaker's reason why he was here too. Peacemaker was on his last mission as the hero himself, due to the guilt he feels after taking the life of his former comrade. I think his name was Rick Flag. A very good friend, I assume. Surge and Kit were sent down for eavesdropping about the Collective, and Hank, as well as Hank, of course. It took time and a fight in a brutal arena inside the prison, but these 9 prove effectively as a team, despite Peacemaker's reluctance to get serious. Although it does explain a lot on how Rivet was able to take care of that giant robot with ease back on Sargasso. I guess it was all good practice. But, unfortunately, that is where they would meet the warden, Mr. Nathaniel Essex, otherwise known in his universe as Mr. Sinister, who now sends our team into the disciplinary ward, and that is where they would meet their potential savior, a former space ranger by the name of Warp Dark Matter. Warp had a plan to escape the prison in which he needed the help of Rivet and the others, but it seems that Warp was an inside man for Sinister. Now, Rivet and the others didn't know he was a traitor upon almost leaving the prison, but it would appear that there is really no telling how far he was willing to go. But as the others were on the verge of being tortured, 2 prisoners were inspired to give Peacemaker his will to fight back and to save all those being tortured by Mr. Sinister. Their names, if memory serves, were Thomas Oliver and Victor Fries, and once Rivet, Cal, and the others were free, the uprising had begun. But I'm afraid they were not out of the woods yet. Mr. Sinister had apparently been working with the Chaos Collective to creating something, well, sinister. And it turns out to be a powered inmate. An inmate goes by the name of Nuclear Man, who had ruptured the prison structure separating Cal, Rivet, and their friends. Rivet found herself facing Warp in a room full of laughing gas, but she and Peacemaker sent Warp into dark matter and into the void. Cal, however, was in even bigger trouble when facing against the Nuclear Man. However, despite the sacrifices, Cal honored the fallen by using a solar eclipse void to drain the Nuclear Man's powers, as he too fell into the void. It was Cal, Rivet, Ramona, Simon, Tommy, and Freeze against the Collective as they made a dash to the teleportation station. In an unrelated note, I believe Ratchet said that General Asmussen was once working for the Chaos Collective, or at the very least made deals. And it never really came as any surprise to me before, but having gone through Rivet's story, it does make you wonder. But I digress. Freeze and Tommy had risked their lives to hold back the Chaos Collective's High Council member who was visiting the prison back for as long as possible, as Cal and Rivet got Simon, Ramona, and the children of the prison out. Sadly, their troubles were not quite over yet. Before they could leave, that is where he emerged before Cal and Rivet, the Maestro. Completely outmatched, they made their last stand. Before their capture, Peacemaker gave Cal a device to go for one trip. But when he and Rivet were sent to Coruscant, Cal gave the trip home to Rivet. I do not know what's become of her friends, but I have every hope that they'll be okay. It would be too soon to tell Ratchet all of this, so I will give Rivet the time until she is ready to tell this tale herself. Yes, this is your almighty emperor. No, the whole deal isn't a fake. It's not a scam. Oh, sure, because I just love gathering a huge amount of money together to find fake Lombaxes that don't exist. Seriously, what kind of moron do you take me for? Ah! Nefarious, this is Mind's Eye. If you have got this message, it means that we're in a dire situation, and one of our prisons has been destroyed, and the inmates have escaped. Inmates that know of the Chaos Collective and know how to exploit it. This is very dire indeed, but it is only a minor setback, as we have many prisons, such as the one in your dimension in Zordun Prison. However, considering the inmates that are in that prison, we can't afford to lose those. And as for the Lombax and the Jedi, should you happen to find them, I want you to find them and bring them to me. Do you understand? We simply cannot lose them. Failure to do so will lead to misery, or worse, death. Wait a second. Mind's Eye. That almost sounds like the name of the person that gave the fundings for me and Drek to build the deplanetizer. And I forgot to pay him!